cloud. There we go. You could hear that?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 2026 Southern Fried DNN User Group meeting. We are getting together after a bit of a hiatus. It has been a hectic, good start of the year. Myself, with my company, I've had about 7 projects that I thought, okay, these will be exciting DNN projects over the course of the next year. No, they all landed in the same month with almost the same week. So there's a lot of development work and people wanting new things and revise old things and upgrade earlier DNN instances. So I know in my corner of the world, there's a lot going on with DNN to be excited about. And since we haven't had a SoFri meeting in a little bit, there's a lot of news to talk about. I'm not sure we'll have all of the answers about the details for these, but it's a good time to bring them up, talk about them, and continue those conversations. So uh, thank you for joining us here online, in person, at the same time live. We have Jeremy Ferentz and we have Jim Peterson. Thank you both for being online with us here tonight. You get to be official peanut gallery, so heckling and commentary are recommended. As we do every meeting, we start off with community news and events. So let's dive right into those. First off is about our very own SoFri. We have our meeting the third Thursday of every month. We may need to take a break or have pause occasionally for scheduling conflicts or issues where we can't make it, but our goal is to have a meeting once a month and to talk all things DNN community. In these meetings, like we're going to do tonight, we go over community news and events, new developer topics that we see. Where we can, we invite on a speaker to help present and show us something that they're building. So that's my first request out to the larger group. If you have a project that you're watching that you think is really exciting, if you've been working on something yourself that you'd like to show off, we want to have you come here on to SoFri, present, let us show this to the larger group of folks, and also have the DNN community both make comment and pitch in to help support you in what you're doing. So if you have speaker or session ideas, please reach out to us and let us know. We want to get those going. I have a few things where we're requesting them for later this year, so we'll see what we get up to here shortly. But I do also want to mention that we have scheduled the rest of the events for the rest of the year. So heading out towards Christmas, we can expect a third Thursday of every month meeting for Southern Fried. If you sign up for the meetup group, then you will get the notifications on any date and time changes if we have them. You'll also get the notifications sent to you whenever there are speaker or topic updates. So I encourage you, even if you're joining us every month, please sign up for that meetup so that we can keep communicating to everybody efficiently. Otherwise, we are going to be found on both the SouthernFriedDNN.com website, where we try and post recaps and videos. We are posting our videos online to YouTube, and we will communicate inside a Discord in the DNN community Discord. Just to remind everybody when we're having our events. Speaking of events, we missed last month the kickoff and excitement about registration for the next DNN Connect event across the pond. Myself, I still haven't made it out to a DNN Connect yet. It's a different kind of event, a different kind of conference than the ones we have here in the States. And I really look forward to getting out to a DNN Connect in the future. This won't be it for me, but I thought I'd make sure we mention it and talk about it. How about you two? Have either of you been out to DNN Connect in Spain or any other European locations yet?
No, I
No,
haven't.
just Summit.
Yeah, I know
I got it.
David's been and has some both harrowing and exciting stories, both to share from being out there. So I know I want to get out there at some point. Again, a different kind of conference than our business conferences and our kind of US style networking conferences. They get together, they do a co-coding session, they do a dreaming session to talk about what they want to see in DNN next and who can start building it and who can start building it right there in that weekend. So different fun, laid back kind of environment and group conference. And so registration is open for that now. Not to be outdone, the DNNSummit.org website has not been updated yet from our last event, last year. We met in person out in Las Vegas and had a fantastic conference, and really enjoyed getting together to see people because that was our first in person in several times in a row where we were still online. So the past information is here on dnnsummit.org at the moment, but I'm excited to announce that we can go ahead and name the date for our next online DNN Summit. There were a couple of notes here from Mitch Sellers earlier yesterday afternoon. He mentioned he might stop by if he has a chance, but he had a conflict and said, could we go ahead and announce the virtual summit for DNN Summit October 13 and 14 with call for speakers opening up May 15th. So tax day next month, we'll open call for speakers, and it is going to be a virtual event. So it's online, no travel necessary. The hop-in platform and interactions that we've come to know and appreciate inside of our virtual DNN Summits will continue. And since we're announcing the next DNN Summit, this is a good reminder to everyone who attended last year's DNN Summit that you have until the next DNN Summit to watch any of the video playback for past sessions. So those are still available now, even though it's been since February last year that we were out in Vegas. Those sessions are fully available online for you to watch. So if you enjoyed some of those sessions or you didn't get a chance to see all of them, now's your time to go log into the Hop-In platform and rewatch those videos before they head out. Looks like I can bring the chat over to this window. So, all right. The registration information and website updates for DNN Summit will be updating soon, and we'll continue to talk about those here in SoFri. I will bring up a couple more things that are general community related as we kind of work our way through some of the tabs that I've prepared. Jeremy just posted another set to me, and it's a really good point. I have some things to bring up for that one as well, but I'm going to run through here in order. Some of these items that I'm going to run through tonight are welcome, Marco. Marco Alvero just joined us. I'm going to go through tonight some of the things that I've seen either in conversations in the dnncommunity.org website or in GitHub conversations or in Discord conversations. There's a lot of different places where the DNN community is having their ongoing conversations and activity. And if you aren't connecting to any of them, it kind of sounds like crickets. You don't see or notice. But there's a lot of things going on. So that is one of our goals here with SoFri, is to help elevate those items and catch attention on those things that we think are worth sharing and promoting that we catch. So one of them was from the beginning of the year, Mitch Sellers was proud to promote or show the .NET Foundation's commits and activity tracking for projects, and showing the stats for pull requests, for commits, and for new contributors. And it's worth noting that we had DNN in the #1 spot for commits. And in the past, some other systems had been proud to mention how many commits they had when they were, a bajillion of them, and they didn't actually do much in terms of updates. But here we have within the top 10 on pull requests, #1 on commits. And I think that speaks to the ongoing activity with the end of DNN 9 range and the newer support end of DNN 10 and the updates that continue happening with that. I think it's something we can be proud of, and we can be excited to show off that shows that as a .NET open source content management system, DNN is definitely seeing its fair share of activity. Before I go off of that, Jeremy, you want to weigh in on that? Any other thoughts about that? Do you remember that screen from a few months ago?
All I can do is sidestep it a little and say it's going to be really interesting to see that list next year because if you watch what's going on with the AI industry, massive disruptions are happening in commits and PRs across all open source projects.
Yeah.
There's people who have done summaries of developer productivity who used to max out at around 40 to 60 hours a week. And now there's individual developers pushing the equivalent of 1,800 hours a week because of AI. And you look at these numbers and it's just
Yeah.
amazing. So I don't know what's going to happen next year. I've heard little tiny whispers and rumblings about how AI could be helping DNN in the coming year, but not much yet. So we'll see what happens
Interesting.
there.
Yeah, that's a good
AI is everywhere.
color commentary on it. Okay. Well, we do have a latest release that came out a couple of weeks back. So this is where if Daniel Vladas was on, I would ask him to give us some commentary on the latest release. 10.2.3 is now out. I can, mention a few different things about our 10x versions that we do have. A security vulnerability that we're aware of that arises around the later 9 series and isn't updated until this early stage 10 version. So if you are holding off and sitting on the later versions of DNN 9, 11, 9, 12, and you haven't moved up yet, outside of some specific cases with specific modules, I've really not found things yet that have a problem that isn't already addressed when we're moving up to DNN 10. So DNN 10 is beyond viable at this point. It's highly recommended and your security level that you need to get up to. So if you've been holding off, here's your recommendation. 10.2.3 is a great place to get started with 10s if you haven't already.
And just a quick addition to that, the suggested DNN upgrade path that is in DNN docs
Mm-hmm.
has gotten revamped, so it's a little easier to hit the key points and understand what's going on. So if you
I
do
may have
upgrades,
that somewhere else in my tabs, but
all right,
Jeremy
there you
mentioned
go.
that the DNN docs had been not stagnant, but it was a little bit out of date. And
But that
some of
one
what you did
page
was
on
you
updates,
you
yeah,
you cleaned it up, you reversed it so the newest was at the top, and you did some other updates to make it easier to follow that recommended path, right?
yeah. Yeah, I found out about some people making some mistakes out in the community, and one of my employees, and fixed the docs so that it's a lot more obvious the steps you're supposed to take to get from 9.13.9 and then move up to hopefully get all the way to 10.2.3 and soon 10.3.
Mm-hmm. If I hit you, no, that's straight to you. What's the straightest path to get to the upgrade path so I can have it on screen?
I'll post that in chat in just a second.
All right, good deal.
I always
Upgrades. DNN
Google it.
upgrades. Right
Yeah.
there under administrator, right in the middle of your screen. Inside administrators, it says DNN upgrades.
Okay. Well, I posted the link in
Thank
the.
you. There we go.
You're not sharing screen in case you don't realize it.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, no,
Everything's
I
set.
definitely am sharing screen. That would be
Really? Then I have
not
a
good for the
problem.
meeting if
Thank
I
you.
wasn't sharing screen.
All right. I fixed my
Um,
problem. Thank you.
video is good, but it's the screen that's the better stuff. Okay, so yes, thank you, Jeremy, for making updates to this. And that was just a couple of days ago.
Actually, it was published this morning.
Okay.
So basically, I reversed the order so the new stuff's on top, so you don't get
Yep.
overwhelmed by starting at
Yeah.
DNN2. And
Right.
then on the right-hand side, you're seeing call outs to the notes below which are very important in some cases. And I
Mhm.
also carefully got all the version numbers clearly at the start of every statement.
Yes, excellent.
So,
That's makes it more readily accessible to read and scan.
yeah. And most people are going to ignore anything before 9 at this point. So there's going to be more changes to this list in the near future.
uh,
Maybe not you, but I'm just saying.
we've got a DNN7 site that hasn't gotten updated yet, and
I
we're
hope it's not
encouraging
on.
them so we can get up to 9.
I hope it's not on the internet. We're recording. Let's not talk about this anymore.
Uh, so that is good to go over because we do know that those upgrades and updates are important, especially in the 10 area. Might as well get up to 10.2.3, and so it's good to have that. And wanted to mention that new release. Okay, I want to have a whole session or two about the new items that I've seen from Tico and Sasha, that um, the work that they're doing towards getting a DNN AI model that's running inside of DNN so that you can issue commands to it. And more importantly, so that you can have chat agents perform actions for you inside of DNN. I spent some time talking with a couple of friends and teammates of mine to talk about what would we do with DNN if it could participate with AI related activities? What kind of things would we want it to do if we're just thinking of it? And this graphic or this chart kind of shows what is in process around this. You know, building it out so that core tool capabilities are that you can add pages, revise pages, delete pages, you can upload files, you can work through the SEO and the content, and light level. Okay, we've changed all of this content and now we're going this direction. Now update all of the main page content and the page names and the meta to reflect this new direction. Okay, that's some pretty cool stuff. Um, but what else could we have it do? Oh, well, it could get connected to anything else that we're building as tools. Oh, so if I've built database related things that are doing my tracking for AI or for employees and their time tracking and management, and that's all data stuff that I've put through structured content inside of DNN, and I can start having it do things for me. Um, that's pretty fantastic. So I started to think a little bit bigger from just doing stuff in a DNN page and thinking the tools that we build and the systems that we build in DNN, how can we do more with those tools? And it can get pretty spooky exciting. So one of the things that I'd like to do is keep promoting and asking, and maybe we can get one of these guys out who have been working on these projects to come out to Southern Fried and give us a demo and really talk about it. In the meantime, I encourage you to take a look at the deep dive into this that happened at the beginning of the year on the DNN community blogs. Also to spend a few minutes taking a look at this, because this is ready to play with. This is in process and it's had a few releases already, but it is available. This isn't something for the future or something to play with, wish list. This is something we can start playing with now, and if we can start making suggestions and recommendations, we have a chance here on the ground floor to make something new that hasn't existed in DNN before that could be pretty darn exciting. Jeremy, I'm not on Discord very much, but when these were first released, was there a lot of conversation around it, a lot of buzz with people
I,
being surprised and interested?
I was surprised and read about it. I checked it out. As a matter of fact, if you want to jump in here and go to the wiki and look
Mhm.
at a couple of, he has some examples of prompts. But no, I did not see a lot of discussion on this, which surprised me. But do example prompts and you can see just a handful of ideas to give you a better, you just say these quick, short sentences and useful stuff happens. So I have not played with it. I'm kind of
Check
excited
page
about it, but
titles and
I'm waiting.
descriptions for SEO. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in lieu, as we build toward getting people to come show it to us, maybe we do a presentation in April or May where we bring it up on screen and we kick the tires while we're talking.
Everyone comes up with different prompts and sees if we can take out your DNN. No, wait, I didn't say
That's
that.
right. Interesting. Translate content. Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, so that's one thing that's been pretty exciting to me, and I'm interested. Anytime I catch a glimpse of something that's brand new that we haven't really seen before, that's a good time to get them out to SoFri and let's talk about it and look at it together.
It'll be a fun demo.
Absolutely. Okay, so additionally, in the community, I wanted to call some attention to an ongoing conversation that before we started the meeting, I was trying to recall where this conversation had taken place, where I picked it up. There was a renewed set of activity in the beginning of the year talking about the CK editor and the need to replace the CK editor as it exists today inside of DNN. And I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about that here with our group. And I encourage everyone who's watching to get involved, to take a look at this list and put out some opinions. The more that we share our experiences and talk about the things that we've seen work well, the things that we dislike, then the developers who are working towards building, these choices have a little bit more input from us, especially if it's I don't know, boots on the ground and real activities that we've seen with our client sites and some of these different alternate editors. The main thing, and this is an old topic. This thread has been kicking around inside of GitHub since 2023, middle of the year. And it's talking about finding a new replacement editor instead of the CK editor. And for the point of the video, I'll zoom in just a little bit more. One of the main issues is that the license that we operate under for CK Editor today doesn't exist going forward. And in this thread, there was some conversation back and forth about whether that was true or whether there was an alternate way that we could continue using CK Editor. And it seems to have been decidedly described that we cannot move forward with CK Editor, that the license structure has changed, and that there won't be a global open source usage of CK Editor in DNN in the future. So what do we decide that we want to do? Some of the options that were put out there, TinyMCE. TinyMCE is one that I've used in the past for projects, and I like it. I appreciate it. Right out. Several conversation points to describe that its license has also changed to be incompatible with including inside of the DNN project. So there have been a few others that are out there, and I'd like to open it up to some discussion here. Have you used any other WYSIWYG text HTML editors for projects, whether in Xmod Pro or Too Sexy or something you built by hand, or you've already tried and replaced some things inside of your DNN instances? But let's look at a few of these that are already existing. First off, Jottit, Jodit, Jot it. I'm not sure phrasing on it, but Jottit is one that was mentioned and people described as liking it kind of favorably, as being an editor that seems to have a clean and simple look, very similar to what we've experienced with the CK editor. It's modern. From this standpoint, it seems like it could be a good suggestion. But Jottit was one that was mentioned. Quill.js was one that was mentioned.
Quill, I think, has been ruled out now.
I was going to say there have been a few more lower down in the thread as well. So Quill has been ruled out. Let's kind of make a run through. So Jottit, Quill. At one point, David Poindexter did chime in and said, "Hey, why are we thinking about external ones? We've also been building our internal DNN components. Isn't there one that is is available here. Let's see what we got here. There was a link to a forum post where there's also these same discussions. Let me get to the bottom of this. So TipTap was one of the other ones that was mentioned. Do we have a link to TipTap that I can jump over to real quick?
I have it somewhere.
But yeah, DNN Elements, that there is a usage inside of DNN Elements which uses Jottit for the editor that's there. And if it's part of DNN Elements and Jottit
There
is
you go.
already there, should that be the direction that it goes? I'm going to bring up TipTap because I haven't seen that one myself. Show it on screen.
And be shocked right away that your headline mentions AI. Shocking. I wanted to point out
Interesting.
one thing that's different about TipTap, and I don't know if I'm a fan. I've only done one little test implementation, but it is what's known as a block editor. So you are dealing with these pretty much JSON globs of things and putting them together. That is not the experience on the front end. The front end is beautiful, and I happen to like the way it backends itself and how you deal with what it creates and stores. We're used to storing complex HTML behind your WYSIWYG.
Yeah.
This does not do that. This stores them in
Oh,
what are called blocks,
blobs. Yeah.
and there's a lot of advantages I see as a developer for doing that. But again, I don't know enough to be talking about it responsibly.
Does it
So
have, do
just
you
I
think it
wanted to
has
point out it's
options that you can
different.
configure it to store standard HTML instead of blob format?
Even if it did, I wouldn't do it. To make it compatible with existing stuff, we're obviously going to have to. And I did verify that it has that ability. So the answer is yes to what you asked.
Gotcha, I
I'm
see.
just saying, as a developer, I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, look how many problems we've had over the years with HTML, and every various version of the CK editor suddenly makes your spans or other things vanish from your tags and your styles. I put them in 3 times now. Every time I hit save, they vanish. Oh, well, switch to raw. And then that works until somebody pulls it up as a WYSIWYG again, and you save it and it's gone. So I'll be quiet. Thanks.
No, these are good
Nope.
pain points.
Yeah.
It's good to remind everyone of what our pain points are with the CK editor. Every DNN instance I touch, I swap out with the other install of CK editor for DNN that is, versions higher than the one that ships with DNN. And that solves for me many of the problems that we've had with it over the years. It leaves the code alone, doesn't change it on you when you put in styles in code, allows you to better input some of the CK editor plugins. We've had a couple of past SoFris where we've had Steve, was it Steve Karpik that did those? I apologize if I'm misattributing who came in to talk with us about CK editor enhancement and modifying, but basically we've had a couple of SoFris where we wrangle CK editor. It would be nice to start off with something fresh. I'm sure we'll have different problems, same problem, different day, but it'll be nice to have a different set of problems than we've experienced with CK editor. Mark Buelsing is on. Hi, Mark. Good to see you.
Just to attribute, I think it was Steve Krantzman.
Steve Krantzman, there we go. Thank you very much. That does sound much better.
All right.
I got the hard sounds of the vowels in there, but you're right, Krantzman. Um, folks who are online here, have you paid attention to this conversation? Do we have any strong opinions? I'll just kind of run it around the block here. Jim, Marco, anybody have opinions on CK Editor and your idea of what you'd like to see in the future?
Well, I think Jeremy already hit the pain point that I had when I was working with stuff because I was weird. I actually did all the HTML external and VS Code
Mhm.
and then cut and paste it under source.
And your stuff
And
vanished.
then and usually it kept everything, but every now and then you would hit stuff where you would lose, it would take tags out on you or
Oh, for sure.
properties and
Yes.
stuff. when you
Yeah.
saved it. And like Jeremy said, the second somebody went in for the very first time to use the editor and it's automatically set as HTML, you lost everything.
Yep. Yep.
So
Only if you save.
Yep. But all I did was opened it. Well, then I also clicked save.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
yeah,
Also click save.
yeah. The
Daniel
problem is you
Volatus has
go
joined
in.
us too. Hi, Daniel.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Hello, hello.
yeah,
So we are in the middle of some talking points about the conversation from earlier this year about finding a good replacement for the CK editor and what some opinions and some experiences might be about those. And I was kind of refreshing that it'd be good if the group, if everyone participating would think about editors they've used and make some suggestions or spend time testing and looking at some of the ones that are being suggested out there. But David had made a really good point that Jodit is used inside of DNN Elements. And if DNN Elements is using Jodit, shouldn't we just consider that as a global across the board, whether it means that later the HTML editor is just using DNN Elements or we're using DNN Elements and things in a similar basis? What's been your experience with Jodit, Daniel? You're a fan of that one, and that's part of why that's in DNN Elements?
Yes, I use that in most of my projects. Yeah. The complexity in DNN is one, to make it a provider that works no matter which context.
Yeah.
Because now we need it to work, either you do a SPA module or a web forms module or an MVC module. The complexity is MVC and SPA because they're not web forms, and currently the wrappers we have around are web forms. So yeah, wrapping it as a web component makes it easier to, if they have breaking changes, we can have abstractions over them to try and limit that for us. So yeah, it's in my opinion a great choice. It's open source, it's TypeScript, it's more modern than a lot of the ones that are more popular,
Yeah.
which means it has way less legacy workarounds for older browsers and stuff, but it also means that it doesn't support like Internet Explorer, or they don't care about that, right?
Sure.
How dare you say that word?
Um, but so that is already present inside of DNN Elements. So if you are
Yes.
using that for your development and you're relying on it, you're already using Jodit that's being called into that.
Yeah, which is a DNN rich text
Right.
that you use. The other complexity is settings, right? So we need to make a settings editor so people can adjust that per
Per
portal, per the
Mhm.
whole instance, per role, there's all kinds of different levels of permissions, and what you can do if you use it inside of your own module also. So
Right.
settings is a big thing to consider. And the third item is file management, right? If you want to be able to put images and stuff, you need kind of an uploader and stuff and stuff. The resource manager that we have in DNN currently is also a web component made out of multiple DNN elements parts, right?
Right.
But it was built really to fulfill the needs that we have as a global file manager, not in the context of using it within
Inside of an HTML
HTML
module.
editor,
Right.
right? And one of the things that I have on my list is to make it so, to have an abstract file manager picker that you feed it the provider you want, right? So what's the APIs used to save an image? What's the APIs used to get a file list? And so on and so forth. Has been on my target, because then we can have a file management web component that we can use in any context. And that's what we would ultimately use in the resource manager instead of what's there. So separating the fact that it was built only for that purpose and make it more reusable is one of the steps to use it here.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier back about with Jodit and needing to make sure that we make a manager so that it can be configurable for per portal, per roles, and actions. I'm sure that most all of these editors make it, part of their default settings that you're able to enable or disable those feature levels. Do you find that it's easy to do inside of DNN Elements and it's already there, or that isn't a part of what's in DNN Elements anyways?
So what we have right now inside of DNN Elements, we expose the configuration object from Judit. So you can provide whatever settings you want, which includes which toolbar items are usable or not usable, which
Right.
also exposes adding your own toolbar items for plugin systems and stuff like this,
Yeah.
and different hooks. When you paste, you can have a hook to do certain things, which allows developing all kinds of plugins for it.
Yeah, and pulling in community ones that might be out there in Jotted. I haven't looked at all, but I'm sure that there are special things that you might look at and decide that you want your own mix to add in on a site.
Yeah, I think if you go to documentation on Judit there, I think there's a section for plugins and there's a list of built-in ones. Yeah, plugins system, is it there? On the bottom of that, maybe there's a list of them. Don't remember exactly where that is, but one of the pages has the list of their own provided plugins and how to develop your own and stuff. Can't remember where that lives. In examples,
We'll
maybe?
pull it up in the future and try and
Yeah.
find some more examples and some more plugins that we might think of as oh, here we go. No, that's about learning to create plugins. I don't think this conversation had been decided. I just noticed an uptick in conversations around it back at the beginning of the year. As I pointed out when we got started with this topic, this thread from Mitch is from 2023. So it's been around quite a long time, going back and forth on conversations. What's your feeling about it, Daniel? There's a consensus now, and people have an idea of what they want to do going forward, or no consensus yet, still need plenty more input?
So it's an open source project, right? So like, unless someone does it or someone
Yep.
contributes to make it happen, it's just discussions, right? I kind of have a plan in my head. I even build a full estimate for making that happen for some clients that wanted that, but it didn't go through. So it's what comes in that we deem acceptable is what will go in, right?
Yep. Well, unless there's any other input on the CK editor from the team and from the group, I had opened it up earlier. Just give it another second before I pass on to a next topic. Anybody else want to chime in about CK editor and replacement ideas?
So related to that, I am working on a new extension that will one day be on the community site, especially to handle those issues that are not bugs, right? Like wish lists and like things that we would like to have in DNN, to separate them from the issues and for people to be able to vote on them and stuff. Very similar to what is it called?
User voice.
User voice, yeah, something like this. So one day we might move anything that's more of an enhancement, more of a wish list
an
in
enhancement
there.
list.
Yeah,
It was a good way to gauge interest and also give us a platform possibly to ask for people to donate or support in some way, or do some of the work, or volunteer to do documentation, that kind of thing.
Would the home for that live on the DNN community website?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And the minimum viable product that I want to get out is just to be able to create those items and discuss on them and upvote them. But then we have all kinds of ideas for developers to indicate interest in making it happen, for people that are not developers that would like to contribute financially to the project and stuff, and move that through some sort of workflow to
Yeah.
make it,
To then connect
this
the
is
idea
actually
into a
ready to
GitHub
develop.
task that then it gets
Hmm.
pulled and gone. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And then we can have a branch for that effort and start working on it, knowing that this is actually ready to develop,
Yeah. Okay. That would be pretty fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't spend a lot of time talking about it, but it is worth mentioning that the DNN Communities site keeps getting some regular updates to it. Every few months, another set of pages gets updated or moved around or something changes. So if I didn't really give it a proper introduction, it is important to know that the dnncommunity.org is your website where everything gets posted here from forums and blog posts that we put up, but all kinds of other things. And if that type of a wish list item gets created later, this will be the place that it ends up going. Okay. Next topic I wanted to move on to is a bit of a personal question to a personal request on my part that I want to hear from my crew here, my developer and DNN managing friends to understand what is everyone doing about an upcoming problem. Maybe I'm late to the game and this has already been solved and I just need to do X, Y, Z. Maybe this is a non-issue and people aren't worried, or people aren't worried yet. But um, I personally feel that SSL certificates are the worst possible thing to have to try and manage in IIS. They haven't been updated. The method of how you do those exists from the early 1600s when the SSL certificate was first invented. And we have had an update to the Microsoft calendar, the Microsoft, I'm sorry, calendar, the Microsoft calculator desktop app has received an update more recently than the configuration and settings of SSL certificates inside of IIS. I know that there are other systems out there. I work with, closely DNN for Less and managed as hosting providers, and they install and encourage the Let's Encrypt SSL certificates that allow for automated, regular, renewed monthly SSL certificates. But coming up is an industry change that is very frustrating to me because it means I'm going to have an unmanageable amount of work to do. And I'm really curious on what other people have done. I'll finish with the setup here in like 2 seconds and then pass it around to the group because Jeremy's smiling a lot and I'm hoping he has the perfect answer for me. Basically, at this point, when we purchase and install and set up an SSL certificate, a traditional SSL certificate lasts for a year. Even if you purchase it for 3 or 4 years, that is a 1 year item that has to get renewed. It has a start date and an end date. It expires after a year. And you have to, at best, install a new one. Most of the time, reissue and bind it to that server and complete a certificate process. The industry is changing, and this is moving here in the middle of this month. Actually, we've already passed it now. It is requiring that SSL certificates can have an expiration date no longer than 6 months. And then next year, it's going to be 5. I don't know why they went to 5 times a year. And then 2029 seems like forever from now, but you blink and it's going to be 2029. SSL certificates are going to move to monthly, and there won't be long-term SSL certificates. Myself, I have had recurring problems with Let's Encrypt. They fail often enough so that they don't work and generate an error that is harder to explain to clients than not having an SSL certificate at all. They also have problems with HTTP 2. And some of those configurations, especially when Cloudflare is involved. So there we go. I've laid out a bunch of tech of what I am concerned about, what I've done in manual setup of SSL certificates. And I'm really curious to hear what people are doing for themselves and how they manage SSL certs because I need to change my game. And here in March, now I've got twice a year. Very soon, it's going to be almost monthly, and I got to make some changes. So I put that up to the floor. Jeremy's first on top of my list. What do you do for SSL certificates? Is this something you're aware of, and does it bother you?
I'm embarrassed to say that I was not aware of this. I don't like it. My
I don't like it.
my first snide comment is, oh, they figured out a way to make more money for the people who already have a lot of money. Great. So my real answer, though, is in general, because of our investment in Cloudflare and
Mhm.
what's called origin certificates, origin server certificates, we've
Okay.
sidestepped this. So for more than half our sites already, we have a Cloudflare origin server certificate installed in IIS on our server.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a certificate that only works for
Cloudflare.
Cloudflare.
Mm-hmm.
And then outward from Cloudflare, they completely manage the SSL connection. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have any work to do. So that's beautiful. And the fact that those origin server certificates are issued on 15-year periods.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that's going to change somehow in relationship, but at the moment, I don't think that is the case. So that's one way we sidestep this. And then the other thing we do, where we still have real IIS certificates and actually a few other cases where we need ones periodically to update inside of Smarter Mail, for example, because that's just
Yeah,
a file you
exactly.
write
Yeah.
to a folder. We use something called Certify the Web, which is a front end scheduling interface against Let's Encrypt, and it manages everything for you. And for us, with the 90-day cycle of things, it works fairly well. It does cost
That's
money.
interesting.
It does cost money.
Certify the web. So
Bring it up.
I
Just type it, certify the
Oh, yeah,
web,
I'm
no
bringing it up.
spaces.
Yep.
Yep,
So
no
what
space.
does
There it
it
is.
do in conjunction with Let's Encrypt different than running Let's Encrypt on its own?
So scroll down a little. Once you install it on your server, you now, per IIS site, can configure exactly what you want to happen with the Let's Encrypt certificate they're going to go get and install in IIS for you. And once it's working, they're going to manage it with an auto renewal. And you can set that to happen every 80 days, every 30 days, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using it for over 3 years, and I consider it to be very reliable. And the amount of money they take from me is completely reasonable for the amount of work it saves me.
Okay, I've got two questions to come in on this. So we'll start with this, and then we'll go backwards to the Cloudflare in a second. So this type of I don't know if we're going to call it an ACME or we're going to call it an ACME. I haven't heard anyone else use this, but basically this automated SSL certificate management is something that, for example, GoDaddy is offering, that they have their own version of an automated installation process, and you would install on your server their version, which sounds very much like this Certify the Web application. You install it on the server, and then the server and that application will be a resident and stay background process that is going to manage those certificates and go fetch from the source. In GoDaddy's case, GoDaddy's location. In Certify the Web, it's going to get Let's Encrypt. Do you know if it gets anything else?
I have seen that it can support other SSL
Okay.
providers, but I
Okay.
haven't even looked into it. I
So
haven't needed it.
it goes and it fetches and gets these SSL certificates and brings them back and installs them onto your machines. That seems to be the recommendation that that GoDaddy is making.
Right,
The
but
answer to that
there's a
is yes, by the way.
big difference between Certify the Web and GoDaddy,
Yeah.
and that is this is GoDaddy. That's it. The other one, Certify the Web, is .NET. It's written by good developers, and again, this one's GoDaddy. Do you hear me?
Oh, come on. They're a good
This video is
registrar and a
sponsored
good
by
provider of SSL certificates. But anyways, Daniel, what were you saying?
GoDaddy is a crazy legacy clown car, and I'll be quiet now. Thank you.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
To answer the question from earlier, though, yes, it's provider-based, the software. So it
Mhm.
supports Acme and about 10 others.
Okay.
It's in the global settings. You can set it for a
Yeah.
couple different
I didn't know
places.
you use it too. You do?
I
In
no
the
longer
past,
have a need for it, but if I would
okay,
have, I would reuse that. Was
you
very
would
good.
reuse that.
Yes, I use
Okay.
Cloudflare like you, Jeremy, and I don't do emails anymore, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
But
nothing else to.
frequent updates written in .NET. Great,
Hmm.
great product.
Yeah, very good.
Really like when my
So
money goes to somebody like that.
well,
Mm.
one of the things that I have an issue with, though, digging into, and I wasn't aware of this one, but I spent a little time looking at this one, is that this GoDaddy one only works in very general situations. Anything special, and it's not going to work. So if you have an IIS instance with multiple different domain names and multiple different certificates that need to be applied to that IIS website, the GoDaddy one fails. It is expecting one IIS website to one domain name and one SSL certificate. It cannot do multis.
I'm
That
sorry,
puts it right out for me.
did you say legacy cloud? Oh, I was going to be quiet. Never mind.
Okay, so that's one of the questions is, certify the web. Do you have that situation and does it cause problems?
I
Do you
don't have
know?
any, with Certify the Web, I don't have any problems.
Good, good, good.
No, because they are
If I make
short-lived
a
to begin with.
yes, they are 90-day certificates and
Hmm.
it's managing the renewals and it does a
Hmm.
great job. Anytime we've had a problem, we can trace it back to human error, setup
Hmm.
issue, something
Yeah.
that we add to
Okay.
our list of don't forget to do this, check this. Once it's set
Yeah.
up right, we've had them running for years with no problem.
Okay. These are good things. I like this story. This is why we do this in Southern Fried. Um, okay, let me go back to Cloudflare for a second because you did mention the certificate process in Cloudflare. So we do the same thing. I have only done the origin certificate once or twice in that often. If I'm going to do that type of setup where I have Cloudflare in the front as my SSL certificate, the one in the back doesn't have to be a valid SSL cert that is generated externally. I can have a self-signed SSL cert here that has expired or was a self-signed cert that I've made for the server, and I use it for a dozen other, Cloudflare instances. And as long as it's behind the Cloudflare, it works okay in the SSL partial setup instead of a full setup in Cloudflare. But the time that I have used an origin generated one, I've gone into Cloudflare, I've generated an origin certificate, I've installed it on the server, and then that allows me to have full because I'm going between the SSL, Cloudflare SSL local and the Cloudflare one they provide external. That's basically your benefit from that too, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, and just to give you the same problem I had that time I tried to demo it, most of the terminology you just used has been changed and you're using the wrong words. So,
I
and that
completely
is one of
believe you
my,
on that one.
I'm very bitter about it, but I've moved on. I still around the office call it Cloudflare strict mode, and they don't use the word strict anymore. So,
Strict, absolutely. I do use
mhm.
the strict
But
and full and all that
yeah,
jazz.
we get it right all the way, all the nines get it perfect, and then we don't have to deal with it again, and it just lasts. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those rule changes for the expiration limit, that is not like it's not a limit on the actual certificate, but on the certificate authority.
mhm,
So the certificate authority is that browsers inherently trust certificates haven't been generated from.
Hmm.
That's what the table shows here. So your 15-year Cloudflare certificate, that one is fine because it's not for the browser. It's for
Yes.
Cloudflare.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
for Cloudflare.
simplifies
Yeah,
things
that
a
makes
lot.
sense.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, those are some good points starting off. Anybody else have SSL certificate, I don't know, concerns or other directions for handling these changes that are coming up? Daniel says he doesn't have need anymore, but he had done these things in the past.
Mm.
I'm not against Let's Encrypt. I've just seen Let's Encrypt fail a fair amount. And
Hmm.
anytime there's been an SSL certificate failure that it has a particular couple of signatures, I look over and I'm like, yeah, of course that's Let's Encrypt. I'm getting rid of that and I'm getting a standard paid SSL cert to repair the problem. Um, but I can't rely on that much longer. I need something solid and I need to put it in place later this year because even moving a painful process once a year to twice a year is still enough to make me want to do it any other way differently and better.
And that's good for most scenarios, but there's scenarios like e-commerce when you wanna have an EV certificate that also it's not just about the connection being secured, but knowing the certificate actually belongs to this company.
Oh yeah.
It's not,
Hmm.
right? So then you have to get a paid one anyway.
Yep, absolutely. The uh the trust level on where certificate is actually necessary. SSL, e-commerce communications, and login of protected content. You're going to want a good standard SSL certificate. That's another reason why I don't always use some other things, or if I have Cloudflare, I want it on top of a real solid SSL certificate as well. Yeah.
Mm.
I know Mark Buelsing was driving. Marco, how are you doing? You want to chime in? What do you do for SSL certificates? He may not be able to chime in. I just thought I'd ask him. Well, we are coming up on the end of our hour block for Southern Fried DNN User Group. We like to try and have these be about an hour. And then if you join us online during the night of the meeting, that last 20 minutes to 30 minutes, we turn off the recordings and we have a little bit of a community powwow where it's just us all hanging out. So we're wrapping up our Southern Fried. Last thing here is for me to mention that April's Southern Fried DNN User Group meeting is going to be, again, the third Thursday of every month. That makes that April 16th, day after tax day. So we look forward to seeing you online if you can join us. And if not, catch those video recaps. Be sure to communicate inside a Discord and in the Southern Fried website to let us know of speakers and sessions that you're interested in seeing. And we look forward to making a good year ahead for some more topics and review of all things DNN exciting. Last shout out to everyone here in the group. Thank you, Jeremy, Jim, Daniel, Mark,
Ryan,
and Marco for joining us here tonight online, and we'll talk to you next month. Thanks all.
Ryan,
Yes, Daniel.
I've joined a little late. Did you mention the new release candidate?
I did mention the new
All
release
right, cool, cool,
candidate. You
cool,
wanna
cool.
you
Just want to
wanna
make
go
sure
back
it was
into
there.
that one?
No, good, good,
Here
good,
we go.
good.
I mentioned 10.2.3, and
Awesome.
I didn't have a lot of details to it, but
No, there's a
10,
there's a
10.3.0 release candidate.
10.3.0. Just go to releases. No, yeah. Okay, you got it. There you go.
There.
10.3.0 release candidate. Shout out for it, Daniel. What do we have here in our release candidate?
We have a release candidate. So when a couple bug fixes and stuff and dependency updates, but in the enhancements there, this made it a minor because it introduces content security policy management in the persona bar.
Really
Yeah,
nice.
and couple fixes, and that's the main thing that made it to be a minor.
Yeah.
Be very careful because
That scheduler drift was a really nice fix. That's bugged me for
yeah,
years. That was a
That has
nice
been
fix.
around for ages. I smiled the
Uh,
second I saw that.
so on that one, it fixes the drift as long as everything goes right.
yeah.
If the
Sure.
schedule fails and the retry and stuff, there's still a drift.
Yeah, but
It
it's
can
not an
remain.
ongoing long-term drift. There's
Yeah.
But if
an
it
ability to stay
goes
still. Okay.
correctly and the task finishes between the time that the next run would have been,
Right.
then it no longer drifts. So it's a little bit. But
Little
CSP, make
caveat.
sure you test that out if you have third-party extensions and stuff. Basically, you can lock yourself out if you're not careful. So there's a couple modes. It's either off or it's reporting only. And then there's on. So if you put it on and you haven't tested with reporting only, you could lock yourself out. So it's one thing to test with your, if you're a vendor that has third-party extensions and stuff, we appreciate the good testing on that and on anything else, but that's what's mainly new in 10.3.0.
I'll add to that. I watched someone demonstrate getting locked out. If you play with it, read the documentation and make sure you understand how to go under the hood. Is it web config or SQL?
Yes, in the web
Turn
config, there's a
in
setting
the
to
web
turn it off.
config, know how to turn it back off before you lock yourself out. Because once you're locked out, you're pretty much dead.
If you're locked out and you turn it off in the web config, you're back
Then
in
you
and
come right
CSP is
back
off.
up.
Yeah.
But know how to do it before it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. Let's
Mhm.
let's have a demonstration of that in one of our next Fry.
That
We'll
needs to be done.
pick a guinea pig and we'll make it happen so we can see
Because
if.
that is a big topic that people don't understand, and there's a lot to it, and it's worth knowing where the internet's heading with that.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So for the next round, well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We will end the recording here, and we will see you next month, April 16th, for the next Southern Fried DNN User Group meeting. Thanks all.
3, 2, 1.
Does it do an audible announcement? This meeting is finished, or the recording is